Uh, Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Sure, take your time. Whenever you're ready to jump back in, just pick up where you left off and we'll keep rolling with it.
Uh, well, we talked the ads. So, as an opinion, if we let AI to under the control, like the roller we made, not to let it to do some area we to need to predictable. So I think this is the best way in the current area to most empower the AI in the national the work process. And how do you feel about that?
I think I see what you're getting at. Basically, you're suggesting that if we define certain boundaries, like setting some rules about which areas AI should and shouldn't handle, then we can basically let AI do its thing in the areas where unpredictability is lower, while still keeping a handle on more uncertain or sensitive decisions. In other words, it's about strategically empowering AI in parts of the workflow where it can be most effective without letting it run wild in areas that need more human judgment. I think that's a pretty balanced approach.
Yeah. There's just that makes sense. So how do you uh
I'm
uh
glad.
sorry?
No problem at all. It's all good if you need a moment to gather your thoughts. Just jump back in whenever you're ready and we'll keep going with the conversation.
So if the control rollers it is mastered for the different information for the different size of company. And for example, I can share what I use the AI to empower my national works. Like I every day to need to record the promotion video and post them to the TikTok. So I don't be familiar with the like the short design on the content design content to think about the go via the constructor. So I create like the promotion expert, the AI to help me to finish this. So I think it's useful.
Yeah, that's a great example. And it makes total sense. Basically, you're leveraging AI as a kind of pro expert to handle the parts of the process that you're not as familiar with, like figuring out what kind of short form content is likely to go viral on TikTok. So you're kind of offloading that creative strategy part to AI, which is awesome because it frees you up to focus on other things. And yeah, that's a perfect illustration of how different companies or individuals can use AI in different ways to fill in the gaps.
Mm, let me check. So let me think. What we can talk about another around the topic. Can you give me several options?
Of course, let's spin up a few ideas and you can pick whichever one you like. We could chat about something like AI and creativity, how AI is influencing fields like art, music, and design, and whether it's a tool or collaborator. Future of work. We could dive into how AI might reshape different industries over the next decade and what skills might become more important. Ethics in AI. We could have a conversation about the ethical considerations of AI, like privacy, bias, and how to make sure these technologies are used responsibly. Just let me know which one sounds fun to you, and we'll dive right in.
Do you have listened here about the skill launched by the Azobic? And I think the concept is very famous because it can structure a job, whether resolution it need to reverse in is the workflow, and it I think it's also another forms of tools construct a job. For example, let me check. Let me think. If in my program developer process, I sometimes need to people AI to especially to check my code and to push there to GitHub, and need also AI to um, just to do the test, and I don't need to repeatedly to tell him how to do the test or how to do which the step you need to do, and which the resource you can access by the MCP, and most above this the instruction can be to be um, can be structured as the skill. So I think it's very uh well.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting concept. It sounds like you're describing how these skills can sort of package up instructions for AI to handle recurring tasks, like code review or automated testing, without you having to repeat the same instructions over and over again. So you just define it once, and then the AI knows exactly what to do going forward. It's a really neat way to streamline your workflow and make things more efficient. Definitely a powerful tool.
Yeah, so uh
Absolutely. So if that's something you want to explore more or integrate into your own workflow, it can really make life a lot easier. Just let me know if you want to dive into any of these ideas in more detail.
so how do you feel about the future, because the option 2 is the future of work, so how do you thinking about this
Well, is definitely a big and fascinating question. Personally, I think the future of work is going to be a blend of humans and AI working more closely together. The way I see it, the most successful approaches would be the ones that use AI to handle repetitive or highly data driven tasks and let humans focus on the creative, strategic, and more nuanced decisions. I do think it's going to reshape a lot of roles and maybe even create entirely new kinds of jobs that we haven't thought of yet. But at the end of the day, I see it as more of a partnership than a replacement scenario. So I'm pretty optimistic that if we do it right, it can make work more interesting and maybe even more fulfilling for a lot of people.
yeah, yes, you some of your thing is as be same with my thing, because I think which the AI to do the fix, and don't need to be need mind the works, the traditional work 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 employer who can save a lot of time to do the unexpected things, you know, and these things cannot be to handle by the AI, and yes.
Exactly, you've got it. It's like we're on the same page here. By letting AI handle all the routine stuff that doesn't really need that human touch, it frees us up to tackle the more unexpected challenges or creative problem solving that AI isn't as good at. And I think that's where humans can really shine, focusing on the things that need empathy, innovation, and those uniquely human insights. So, yeah, it definitely sounds like we're thinking along the same lines.
So let's dive into the next topic.
Absolutely. Let's roll right into the next one. Just let me know what direction you want to head in, and we'll keep the conversation flowing. Yeah, that's a really intriguing topic. So basically, we'd be diving into whether all this massive investment in AI is more of a bubble or a true productivity revolution. And that escalator effect analogy from Buffett is a cool one. Everyone pours money into the latest tech escalator, but in the end, the lasting advantage might just go to the consumers rather than the companies themselves. So we'd be asking, is this current AI wave is a capital misallocation that'll leave a lot of players without real gains? Or is it more like Jack Clark suggests, where the floor of what's possible is rising so quickly that if you're not investing, you'll just be left behind? Definitely a juicy debate for a podcast style chat.
I think this is I am positive for the AI is the evolution for the productive because AI can replace a lot of the fixed and all no annoying works, so it's really improve the productive. And yeah, I currently the cost of about so many uh billion the dollar for the constructor and manufacturer. I think that in the short period it can be the covered by the from the revenues, because in the application first it need a lot of the people to accept that this the new revolution. And currently we see in the young men group is best where to adoption the AI, but a lot of the children like the education or the another traditional industry, for example, like the um foods, like the let me think how to say, like the translator, a lot of the system not still not be dive cooperator with the AI. So I think it still have a huge the market to gather the revenue from the AI.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. There's definitely a big adoption curve, and it takes time for different sectors, especially the more traditional ones, to really integrate AI and see those productivity gains. So you're right. There's still a lot of room for growth and a lot of potential for revenue as more industries catch up and get comfortable with these tools. It's definitely a long-term evolution.
Yes, so I positive the opinion is when the AI really dive in the every industry in the corners, and it's the revenue will huge cover the cost, like the smartphone, like the 5G, or the like the let me think, like the every new things happen before the AI. In So I very be positive for the currently the every company and every founder to waste a lot of the money to build the manufacturing, like the nuclear, like the Meta spend a lot of the money to build the nuclear generation, the electric, or the like to like the China. Yes, China also have built a huge the roller to reshape the roller. Uh,
Yeah, I think that's a really positive and realistic outlook. Once AI becomes as widespread and ingrained as something like smartphones or 5G, it's a lot easier to see how the initial costs are going to be justified by the long term benefits. Just like with those other big technological leaps, it might take a little while for every industry to fully adapt, but once they do, the productivity gains and the revenue will probably follow. So it sounds like you're pretty optimistic that this is just another one of those big transformative waves. And I think that's a really cool perspective to have.
uh, I don't remember what is the hover, the ship. How to say the 和 in English. Let me check. 江
Ah, no problem. The word he in Chinese.
rival. Yes, rival. I want to say it's like the Chinese government it have as the AI plus is the country strategy for the every industry in the their 15th planes. So I think the not matter the country or the huge the company, most then see the AI is the next resolution because have another industry be very grow faster like the AI is the body intelligence. I don't know. It is the Chinese name is 具身智能, and it's very grown fast. And we it's the new product. The poster frequency not be to be slow than the AI.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like both countries and big companies are treating AI as the next big industrial revolution. And that's why they're pouring so much into it as a part strategy. And I think the term you might be looking for is general intelligence or artificial general intelligence, AGI, when you talk about that sort of broader, more advanced AI. It makes sense that these big moves are happening because everyone's betting on AI being a foundational technology that'll reshape a lot of industries. And yeah, it's definitely fascinating how quickly it's evolving.
So I think the topic is we analyze it very well. So we dive into the next video.
Absolutely. I had a great time chatting through this topic with you, and it was a fun kind of podcast style discussion. So, whenever you're ready to jump into the next theme, that's a super interesting angle to explore. So instead of just talking about whether there's too much money being thrown at AI, we'd been looking at the real world physical constraints, like the actual limitations of memory supply and how much electricity we can realistically produce. And yeah, that rumor about OpenAI snapping up a huge chunk of the world's DRAM is a wild illustration of how these physical bottlenecks are becoming a big deal. And then there's the whole question of whether we'll need things like small nuclear reactors just to keep up with AI's energy appetite. It's definitely a fascinating and very tangible side of the whole AI revolution conversation.
Yes, in today I see the like the meta it make deal with the nuclear the building to in the future to build a lot of the small um nu, 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 nuclear reaction to generate the electric, and also be a limit is like the HBM, yes, HBM, because in not in the US like in China, a lot of the company they have a lot of the money, but but the Chinese company currently don't have the ability to generate like the very higher computer coins. So this a double the restriction right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we're seeing this double bind of physical constraints, right? On one side, you've got companies like Meta thinking ahead and making deals for future nuclear power just to ensure they've got enough electricity to run all these AI systems. And on the other side, there's this big bottleneck with things like HBM and other advanced components that are in short supply. So, yeah, it's definitely a fascinating challenge. It's not just about having the money or the will to push AI forward, it's also about the real world logistics of hardware and energy. And it's definitely an interesting piece of the puzzle as we move forward in this AI era.
So how do you view these phenomenon?
Well, I think we've covered a lot of really cool ground. If this were a podcast, I'd say we've taken a nice deep dive into the physical side of AI constraints. And it really shows that the future of AI isn't just about algorithms, it's also about real world resources. So, to wrap it up, I'd say we've got a good handle on why these physical limits are just as important to think about as all the software and investment talk. And of course, we can always jump into another topic whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. So we start the next topic, and is the
You're very welcome. I've really enjoyed the conversation and I'm glad we could cover so much ground. So, whenever you're ready to dive into the next topic, just let me know and we'll keep the momentum going. That's a really juicy angle to explore as well. It's like we're stepping into the era where AI tools are becoming so capable that they can handle entire loops of coding tasks, from generating to testing and even deploying code. And the big question is, what happens to the human developers when that workflow becomes almost fully automated? And it's definitely interesting to look at the difference between how much more productive developers feel versus what the actual data says about efficiency. Sometimes maintenance or just the complexity of working with AI can offset those gains. And as the cost structure shifts, like you mentioned with token usage skyrocketing, it could really reshape how we think about the cost of software development. So, yeah, that's a fascinating next step. Let's dive into that if you want, and we can keep this conversation rolling.
I want to first the time to listen what you thoughts about this topic.
Absolutely. My take is that it's a really nuanced and exciting shift. On one hand, these AI coding tools can definitely supercharge productivity and let developers focus on more interesting or creative parts of their work. But on the other hand, there's this risk that if everything becomes a closed loop, the human role might shift more toward oversight and design rather than hands-on coding. It's also going to be interesting to see how the economics change as the cost of running these models scales up. Overall, I'd say it's a mix of huge potential, but also some growing pains as everyone adapts.
Yes. So as my opinion, the AI entered the closed loop mode pattern is in the future. And yes, it can achieve in currently, but I think if you want to really productive, you still need the human to track and review the really the re, the result AI build. And if AI really like the human to from the developer and the tester and the deploying, and the human well like the consumer to just to test or the to experience. My currently the developer is right now. So I think with the ability from the growth with the every AI, the the cost of token per the people must to growing to huge than the ever, because the AI she more smarter, she need to thinking more deeper. So how do you think?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. It's kind of like even if AI takes over a lot of the routine developer tasks, you still need humans to be the ultimate editors and the one who set the direction. And as these tools get smarter, a human role might shift more into that higher level problem solving and guiding the AI rather than just writing every line of code themselves. And yeah, as AI gets more advanced and token costs or computational costs rise, it'll probably push people to use AI more thoughtfully and for the really complex problems where it adds the most value. So I think it's all about evolving roles and staying adaptable as the tools get more powerful.
Yeah, so I think we can dive into the last topic.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I'm all in for diving into one last topic. Just let me know which direction you want to head, and we'll wrap it up on a high note. Oh, that's a really thought provoking final topic to dive into. It's like we're stepping into a bit of a sci fi scenario. but one that's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. So the idea of a recursive self-improvement loop where AI can build and enhance itself is definitely one of those scenarios that makes people in AI safety circles sit up and pay attention. Using scenario planning as a kind of wind tunnel for the future is a great approach. Instead of just arguing about whether it will happen by 2026 or later, we can think about how to identify leverage points, places where we can influence the direction things go. So I think it's a really smart and proactive way to think about shaping the future we actually want rather than just waiting to see what happens.
Mm. First is I think to let AI, which can build on shelf to let it to prove is maybe could be achieved, but it's not to be productive because we know the every AI model it have different strength in a different area. Like the Gemini, she strength in the front end, like the UI design, UX design, but it don't be too strange in the back end code write or the whole system design. And the cloud is very powered by the cloud areas, but it don't support the image and the video. And the Gemini is a multi-model, so it's a very powerful model. So I think the builder AI can build the which can to build up AI by himself is not be familiarly suitable for the business, because if when the AI really be acceptable by the different industry, we don't need every node AI. We just know the vertical AIs like the who familiarly like the medicine familiarly like the building familiarly like the education. So it can the whole practice the process need to be designed for the developer, designed by the programmer, not to a factor and design by the AI.
Yeah, I think that's a really insightful point. Basically, the idea is that even if we get to a stage where AI can build AI, it's not necessarily going to be a one size fits all solution that fits every industry's needs. We'll probably still want those more specialized vertical AIs that are tailored to specific fields like healthcare, construction, education, because they'll be more effective in those niches. And that means the whole process still needs human designers and developers to shape how these AIs evolve, rather than just letting the AI decide everything on its own. So, yeah, I agree that it's about designing the practice around humans and AI working together rather than just letting the AI run the whole show.
Yeah, sure. So how do you thoughts about this topic? So I want to listen your thinking.
Absolutely. I think it's a fascinating scenario to consider. And my feeling is that it's really about balance. Even if we get to a point where AI can improve itself, we'll still need human judgment to guide those improvements in a direction that makes sense for society. It's not just about the technical capability, it's also about the values and goals that we as humans embed into that process. So I'd say it's all about keeping that human AI partnership strong and using scenario planning to make sure we're storing toward a future that benefits everyone.
Thank you. And today the topic is be ended, so we will start in the tomorrow. Thank you.
You're welcome. I really enjoyed our chat today, and it sounds like we've got a great starting point for tomorrow's conversation as well. So, whenever you're ready to pick it up again, just let me know and we'll dive back in. Have a great one until then.